There was a time when getting sick didn't mean going to a hospital. There was no emergency room, no sterile operating table, no antibiotics waiting behind a pharmacy counter. If you fell ill, you stayed where you were, at home, in the fields, or on the road. And whether you lived or died depended on the knowledge, beliefs, and tools available to the people around you. This is the story of medicine before hospitals existed, a world where healing was personal, dangerous, and deeply human. For most of human history, hospitals as we understand them today simply did not exist. There were no centralized institutions dedicated to systematic medical care. Instead, healing was decentralized, practiced by shamans, herbalists, midwives, monks, barber surgeons, and family elders. Disease was mysterious. Pain was often seen as divine punishment, spiritual imbalance, or the work of unseen forces. Yet despite limited understanding, early societies were far from helpless. They observed patterns, they experimented, they recorded outcomes. Medicine was shaped by environment, culture, religion, and necessity. What worked survived. What didn't often vanished with its practitioners. Long before modern science, humanity was already fighting disease with the only tools it had: observation, tradition, and courage. Healers were revered, feared, and sometimes punished. Knowledge was precious, passed orally, through apprenticeship, or recorded in fragile scrolls and manuscripts. In a world without hospitals, survival depended not only on remedies, but also on community. A neighbor's care could mean the difference between life and death. Humans first relied on instinct and experimentation. Archaeological evidence shows that even 7,000 years ago, early humans practiced trepanation, drilling holes into the skull, sometimes successfully, to relieve pain or treat mental illness. The courage of both patient and healer is almost unimaginable today. Herbs, roots, and minerals were used carefully, often guided by trial and error. Willow bark, honey, garlic, and mineral salts became staples in folk medicine. These remedies would eventually inspire modern pharmaceuticals, though their origins were humble and human. In Egypt and Mesopotamia, medicine was highly specialized. Egyptian physicians distinguished between different types of doctors: dentists, eye doctors, and surgeons. Mesopotamian healers used divination to guide treatment, blending magic, prayer, and empirical observation. Each success reinforced knowledge. Each failure became a cautionary tale. In Greece, Hippocrates and his followers began to separate medicine from superstition. Disease was seen as a natural process, rather than divine punishment. Observation, patient history, and logical reasoning became tools to understand the human body. Roman society applied medicine on a massive scale. Military campaigns created the need for rapid surgical innovation. Battlefield medics learned how to set broken bones, drain abscesses, and manage bleeding, skills that saved thousands of soldiers' lives. Roman aqueducts, sewers, and public baths were early public health measures, showing that medicine extended beyond the individual. After the fall of Rome, much medical knowledge survived in monasteries and the Islamic world. Islamic physicians preserved Greek texts and expanded upon them. Scholars like Avicenna compiled encyclopedias of medicine that would influence Europe for centuries. Care was still decentralized. Treatment occurred in homes, religious buildings, or informal shelters. Healing was slow, personal, and uncertain. Childbirth remained one of the most dangerous experiences in human life. Midwives relied on experience, not formal training. Survival rates were low. Pain was expected. Death was common. Surgery, when attempted, was terrifying. Without anesthesia or germ theory, even minor procedures carried lethal risk. Surgeons worked quickly, often restrained by assistants. Infection was the unseen enemy. Yet through all of this, knowledge accumulated. Each generation learned a little more than the last. Consider the mother in a medieval village. sitting at her fireplace as she delivers a child, using nothing but experience and prayer. Consider the healer tending plague victims, knowing that each contact could end in death. These were the human stories of medicine: risk, intuition, sacrifice, and hope. Medicine before hospitals shaped not only healthcare, but human culture. Communities were the first caregivers. Families, neighbors, and local healers took responsibility for survival. These centuries of trial and error laid the foundation for modern hospitals. Observation became documentation. Documentation became standardization. Standardization made centralized care possible. Every risk taken by a midwife, every success of a battlefield surgeon, every trial with herbs, all contributed to the knowledge that would eventually save millions in sterile operating rooms. Medicine was a slow evolution. It was messy, painful, and human. But it worked enough times to build trust in knowledge over superstition. And in doing so, it shaped not just science, but the way humans think about health, care, and life itself. Today, hospitals are symbols of safety, science, and expertise. But their roots lie in firelit homes, crowded monasteries, and ancient temples. Every sterile room, every prescription, every life-saving surgery is connected to centuries of uncertainty, courage, and trial. Imagine the bravery it took to remove a tumor without anesthesia, to attend childbirth with no antiseptics, to care for plague victims without protection. Those early healers risked everything for knowledge and survival. Medicine did not begin in hospitals. Hospitals exist because medicine survived without them. And that story of human ingenuity, compassion, and resilience is one of the most extraordinary achievements of our species. As we walk the corridors of modern hospitals, we are walking on the shoulders of thousands of generations of healers who labored, failed, and persevered. In their struggles, we see both the fragility and the incredible determination of humanity. Because before hospitals, life, health, and healing were inseparable from the courage, love, and sheer will of people who refused to surrender to disease.